Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick. There's actually a couple different articles with this here scenario going on. Here's one of them real fast. In Italy, I write about these protesters that's protesting against these mandates and things like that. And this is pretty much not just going on here in America, but around the whole globe, all right? This one here is in Italy. We're going to jump into this other one here. We'll read this one here. This one here is in Germany as well. Well, this one here is in Germany. The other one was in Italy. All right. But nevertheless, like I said, there's multiple different stories and of this going on in, at the same time. But we all know that, it's not just these mandates that people are protesting. You have the climate change. You have people protesting over any and everything, whether it be the lockdowns, the mandates. All right. All these different things, which are signs that we're at the end. All right. People will argue that, we've always had uprisings of the people in the world, but not onto this type of level. All right. Where you have one reason that people are protesting in different states and different countries. All right. But not only that, you have in those same different states and different countries and things like that, you have people protesting for different reasons. All right. To the point to where, a lot of the police resources are being used for this. This is like a pretty much an every weekend event. This one here says clashes, arrests, hundreds protest against the mandates in La Pise. All right. And forgive me if I'm mispronouncing any of these names. This is some German places. It says hundreds took place to the streets of the German city of La Pise on Saturday to protest against the government's measures. They were faced with counter-protests and police. A large police force was deployed to La Pise, where a total of 12 protests were scheduled to take place. Armored police vehicles were seen on the city streets. And ultimately, I've been saying things like this before that, right now things are at a so-called peaceful level, all right, quote unquote, non-violent level. All right. You have these small clashes here and there and, the police are spraying some of these people with water hoses and things like that. And, there's actual clashes and things, but things are going to get a lot worse. All right. Because these people are pretty much coming down to these protests basically unarmed. But when it gets down to the real nitty gritty, they're still at the negotiation stage. All right. They're trying to, protest and get the governments to change their minds. But hey, once the government show you full force that, hey, man, look, this is our plan and we sticking with it. All right. When the devil's coming down with great wrath, then you're going to know. All right. Then you're going to understand that, look, man, there's no, how you say, there's no change in this man's mind at this point. This is his plan. This is his agenda. And this is what he's going for. All right. We're coming into a time, like the scriptures say, the beginning of sorrows. All right. And great death. All right. It says more than 1,000 people gathered in a city center near La Paz Opera to voice their discontent with the measures taken by the federal and regional authorities to contain the spread of the pandemic. The protests demanded freedom from the measures and protest what they call mandatory participation. The police designated a second meeting area for the demonstrators near the, not going to even try to pronounce that, this one street after the participant cap restricted to 1,000 people was exceeded. Footage by RT Video Agency roughly showed a tightly packed crowd occupying a large area not far from the opera. People were waving German flags and were holding banners that read, "No to dictatorship" and "Freedom instead of despotism." The crowd was cordoned off by police officers wearing riot gear, and at least 2 water cannons were seen deployed to the square. All right. And again, like I said, they are getting physical out there, but hey, things are going to get a lot worse out there, man. All right. You're going to have these people start rounding folks up, which, on small scales they are. All right. But nevertheless, again, even at the what you call it, the January 6th riot at the Capitol building. All right. Comparably to the things that's coming down the pipeline, man, these are all quote unquote peaceful protests, man. All right. And you think these things are getting wild and out of control, with January 6th. I believe that one lady that was shot out there. That was, oh, wow, that's so big and bad. Hey, man, just wait till all these police come out there with live rounds and they real straps and just start mowing people down, man. All right. We've seen this with past governments. All right. And now it's coming to this here time, man. All right. It says a counter demonstration involving around 800 people was organized near Lapid's concert hall across the square from the opera. At a certain point, the crowd protesting the measures attempted to stage a march along the city's ring road. The police intervened and blocked the march, arguing that no marches were allowed in the city because of the restrictions. All right. And again, this is all being held back, by the police and things. There's going to come a time where these people are not going to take heed to the word of the law, man. All right. Because these things are these people are seeing what these measures are entailing. Hey, man, if you have these measures, then and I'm not with it, I'm not going to be able to go to work. And then I'm not going to be able to get any money. And even if I did have any money, I can't go into these stores to be able to buy food and groceries. This is actually an act of war against, this civilian population, man. And this is what these people are starting to realize, man. All right, that the devil ain't got no love for you either. It says the situation escalated quickly. Videos published on social media showing brief, intense clash between the protesters and the police some rally participants sought to break through the law enforcement cordon. Police used pepper spray in response. See, like I said, they're just using quote unquote non-lethal measures at this point. Even before the clashes erupted, the officers detained 24 people they designated as members of various right-wing movements. These people were taken into custody because of their behavior and the objects they were carrying, the police said on Twitter. I think that was, we're almost at the end. It says the demonstrations came after the Saxony government announced the tightening of the restrictions for those that don't participate amid rising infection numbers. Only those who are fully immunized or recently recovered from the situation will be allowed into indoor catering facilities, bars, and clubs, as well as various public events with more than 1,000 participants, both indoor and outdoor. Now, look at this here picture here. This is the bottom of it here, but look at the picture here. All right. So, hey, you can already see what things are coming to, man. All right. But like I said, all these protests and riots to the natural eye seem like they're violent clashes and things like that. But hey, we know according to the scriptures, things are going to get a lot worse, man. A lot more violent out there. So let's jump to some scriptures now. All right. This is Luke chapter 21. I'm going to start at verse 25. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring." So the point there was, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. And like I said, man, we've always had, protests, riots, and things like that, even from way back in the ancient times. There were people that was upset with their leaders, and they took to the streets and everything else like that. But hey, this is on a global scale, man. All right. It's like you can pretty much turn on the news and just about anywhere in the world and, with the volume down and, no words on the screen, and you'll see these protests and things like that, man. All right. Around the whole globe. Now, when you turn the volume up and you can read the words on the screen, you'll find out that it's not just, in a lot of places, yeah, there's a couple different topics that people are rioting and protesting over. But nevertheless, this is, again, like I said, the standout thing is this is pretty much global. All right. And like I said, it's not just, because of the how they say the lockdown protests or the mandate protests or quote unquote Black Lives Matter protests, climate change protests. All right. All these different things like that are just mounting up in the back of people's minds because these governments have them so far stretched. All right. They have the rope so tight around their neck that, it's like when you back any type of animal into the corner, no matter how docile this animal is, it comes to a certain point in time where this animal is going to come out, in defense mode. And this is what you're starting to see happen with these people, man. This is the first line of their defense is to stand up and say something. All right. But once they realize they're not being heard, they're going to start taking things into their own hands. All right. And this is, going into the distress of nations with perplexity. All right. Because look, they don't understand how to, how to control all these things other than come down with a hard hand and a swift hammer, man. All right. Let's go from there to the book of let me see. Matter of fact, well, yeah, let me grab this real quick and then we'll come back to that. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak." All right. And like I was saying, a lot of people will counter, "Oh, well, there's always been this, there's always been that." But the point is on a global scale. All right. You're starting to see these things happening worldwide. These are part of the signs that the Most High was showing us, well, that he spoke about to look for in these last times for us to know how to measure the times diligently. All right. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So, you can go back into the civil rights movements when you seen Jake out there marching and stuff like that, Martin Luther King and everything else like that. Some people would say, well, that was a big time of protests and things like that. Things got violent clashes and stuff. Hey, man, or the Vietnam War. But see, it wasn't global at that point in time. You just had marches and stuff like that over here in America over these things, man. All right. And those things are tailored to a certain area or region where things was going on. They were fighting for civil rights here in America. But hey, what did that have to do with, being over in Germany? All right. They was protesting the war in Vietnam. What did that have to do with, another nation, let's say in Israel or something like that, man? All right. Those things didn't have connections. But look at the things that's going on today, man. All right. You have one thing, let's just say the lockdowns or the mandates. All right. Those things are carrying over throughout the whole globe. You also have climate change. They don't really put those too many in the news. You have to look into the smaller feeds for those things. But those protests happen damn near every day as well, too. All right. So it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And over these last few years, starting with the Black Lives Matter situation with the killing of unarmed Jake and things like that. That's kind of what started a lot of these things, man. All right. Then you had like the yellow vest protest that happened for a couple years. All right. Then they had basically the Black Lives Matter went over that way, where it was called, I believe it was the Black Vest protest. All right. Then you started having a lot of these climate change protests take off and go around the whole globe and everything else like that. Then the Black Lives Matter started sprouting back up again. All right at the time when you started having the pandemic come out. Then they started locking people down, and that was in the very beginning. But now people were seeing that there ain't no comeback in sight. Now they're starting to take to the streets over these lockdowns because of losing businesses and things like that. All right. And just keeping people on the inside for so long, people were ready to get out. All right. Now they have these new mandates coming out, and people are rising up against those things, man. All right. So now you're starting to see this perplexity amongst the nations, man. All right. Uproars of the people all the way around. All right, now let's get back to 2 Ezra 9. All right. It says, and he answered me then and said, measured out the time diligently in itself. All right. And just looking at what we was reading in Habakkuk 2, the vision is yet for an appointed time. But what at the end? All right. Now we're starting to see all these prophecies starting to speak loud and clear. All right. Now they're all starting to rise up off the page, man. We could talk about, when you read down in Matthew 24, or you could have read it in Luke 21, but Matthew 24 talk about wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes and diverse places. All right. You got the La Palma volcano still going off, earthquakes going on around there. All right. You have obviously the famines that's going on. All right. You have the increase of the cost of food, the turkeys, and you got Thanksgiving coming around the corner, and turkeys are skyrocketing off the shelves. Plus, you got them massively killing off more animals, especially with, you got bird flu now coming back around. They're killing off a lot of those animals, which, putting two and two together, it's like, oh, wow, what a coincidence. Now you have a problem affecting these turkeys and things right around the time when Thanksgiving's coming around, knowing that there's going to be a huge number of people here in America that's going to be celebrating that, buying up these turkeys. All right, already in the strained market, to where even if you didn't come out with that, all right, now you have, it's taking us a lot longer to get these turkeys to the shelves. All right, so we can boost the price up over that. But now all of a sudden we got to kill off a lot of these damn turkeys, because look, now they're getting these new pestilence and diseases and things like that, man. All right, so hey, man, you seeing all these signs that's taking place throughout the whole earth right now. All right, it says, he answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou see part of the signs past which I told thee before, then thou shalt understand it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And these are the times that we're living in right now, man. All right, if it's not clear to you what time that we're living in, and that, that the Lord is not playing out there, man, your ass is like the scriptures say, if our gospel be hid, is hid to them that are lost. All right. Ultimately, you can pretty much rest assured that your fate is going to be meeting an ill judgment, man. All right. If you don't see the signs that's going on around you, it's just like looking at somebody that's oblivious to the things that's going on. You inside a burning building, and yet and still you over there, playing your chess game or playing cards or something like that. Everybody else is running and screaming and chaos is going on around you, and they evacuating and there's smoke all inside the building. And you just sitting over there making your little chess moves and things like that, man. All right. We can clearly see that your ass is going to burn down with the house. All right. Because you're blinded to the fact of what's going on around you. All right. The signs are clear and obvious of the things that's going on. And it's obvious pairing it up with the scriptures. And not even that, man. You have the men of the Lord constantly making videos, how you say, tying the two together, man. All right. So it's plain as day. All right. Man, if I would have read this, you know what? Let me go back real quick. Habakkuk 2:2 says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. So there's no excuse nowadays for you not to know what's going on, because we've made it plain unto you. We constantly make these videos over and over and over again to where people complain about us speaking on the same subjects. Well, you got to realize we're at the end of this here thing, man. You only got a couple different prophecies that's left. All right. So, it's not like we're going to be prophesying that the ancient Babylonians are coming. The ancient Medo Persians are coming. The ancient Grecians are coming. The Roman Empire is about to rise up. We way past all those times, man. All right, now we're at the end of this here thing to where, you only have a couple prophecies left to go, man. All right, so this is what we're going to be prophesying about. All right, let me read 2 again. Then thou shalt understand this the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, again, going throughout the whole globe, you're seeing these uproars of the people, man. All right. And this is one of the major signs that you would see, man. Everybody's up out of their comfort level. All right. Everybody's starting to, great confusion is covering the earth. All right. And these governments are quote unquote losing control of the people. But they have a saying, and they say order out of chaos. So this is all being designed by them. All right. To break the old system, to bring in the new system. All right. But like the scriptures say, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall rain it upon him. He shall flee from the iron weapon. All right. And the Most High disappointed to divide. Let me grab it real quick so I don't butcher it. Job 9:12 says, he disappointed the device of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. All right. And so ultimately you're starting to have these things, how do you say, is going to wind up catching him in his own snare, his own trap. All right. Esau is doing these things to forward his agenda, but ultimately it's going to fall in, how do I say? Let me read the next verse. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. He's going to take them in his own snare that he's setting for the people. All right. And one of the things that's going on with these things is just like, we've been telling people about, the charagma and things like that, and how the devil is about to come down with great wrath and try to force these things upon you. All right. And they try silencing us on these topics on the internet and things like that. But now, you have a lot of these Edomites that's out here protesting and things like that, to where somebody that's on the fence is kind of looking back and forth, like, wait a minute, I thought these things was all good. Everybody was with it. But why are these clashes going on? Now, you look on the internet, you see a video of certain things. Now you're starting to get a little bit more understanding about these things. And so now, hey, even with Esau's chaos that he's creating, all right, hey, truth is still being found within these things, man. All right, because believe it or not, you have people that are asking us, why are people protesting these things? Why are people doing this and that? I thought this was for the greater good. And I'm like, yo, you don't realize this is what's going on? Even if you want to say we're so-called conspiracy theorists, look around the globe. We can't all be so-called crazy, man. Look at the effects of what's going on. Look at what they got going on. Now you have people actually looking into these things instead of just following after this straight witchcraft that Esau pushes out. All right. So let's go back to 2 Ezra 9. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So like I said, man, this should be plain and obvious at this point in time that, hey, this is all written in the scriptures. This is on what they will call a biblical level. All right. This is not just your average, people over here protesting a grocery store chain or a clothing line chain because of such and such going on, or, Apple came out with the new iPhone and they roll out wrong. So now people downtown at the Apple store rioting at the Apple store and protesting. No, this ain't that, man. All right. This is something of what they call a biblical proportion, man. All right. This is you can't ignore this. All right. That's, going into akin to that. It's so big you can't even ignore these things, man. The writing is clear on the wall, man. right division, make it plain upon tables, that he may run and may read it. And once you see these things, let me read it again. It says, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So it's clear as day that this is what's popping right now, man. All right, it's clear as day that these are the times that the Most High spake about. These are the end days times that we're living in, man. All right. It says, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. So, even this whole lifestyle, or not to say civilization being like the U.S. civilization, but as we know it globally, the civilization of the globe, all right, is all coming, how you say, unwound, unwired. You know, it's all falling apart. It's all starting to crumble, man. All right, everything on every side is crumbling, man. So you could say, oh, I don't really care about the Black Lives Matter protests. That don't really bother me. I'm just walking down the street, minding my own business. That don't affect me. But then, oh, well, the lockdowns. Oh, well, the lockdowns really don't affect me because I ain't got that type of job. I got a different type of job to where I wasn't locked out of my job. Okay, well, with the mandates. Oh, well, the mandates don't bother me. I got my own business and this and that. All right, well, then now the food shortages and the prices and things like that, man. All right, one way or the other, man, you're going to be touched by this. One way or the other, you're going to realize this is it. It's manifest. It's no escaping it, man. All right, you know, like I said beforehand, there could have been a certain thing where if we just had, quote unquote, Black Lives Matter protests going on around, you know, some people were like, well, we ain't got a dog in that fight. That ain't even really what we on or nothing like that, you know, but somewhere around the corner, there's something that's, you know, touching out and reaching all the people, man. All right. And these things are all bringing people closer and closer and closer to the edge, to the point to where we'll grab this and close out. It's bringing them closer and closer to the edge to where, here we go. Let me read from verse 14 to where they're at their boiling point, and you know these people are just about to go haywire. Second Ezra 15 and 14. It says, "Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein." Hold on, real quick. Let me read this first. Second Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and power, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, which shall I do, and these evils shall come. All right. So ultimately going into these things, man, these are the beginning of sorrows that we're living in. All right. The regular life of living, and everybody, you know, like I was just saying, man, you know, there were certain times around in the world where people were having protests. Let's say, for instance, you know, in the land of Israel, with the Palestinians and the Israelis clashing, man, they was, you know, protesting for years on end. Venezuela, you know, when they was trying to steal Venezuela, they had those situations going on where the people was out there begging for food and things like that, man. All right, you've had people standing up against their governments around the world at different points of times, but what, in those points of times, hey, most Americans was just, you know, dwelling carelessly. They didn't care about these things, but now these things have touched every pocket of the earth, man. You have these protests and these riots and things like that of different types, of different sorts, but they're everywhere now. All right. They're all over the whole globe. So now we're in a time to where, you know, there's not a nation or a country that's not feeling the effects of some type of uproar of, you know, unease. They're not being touched by these different plagues or pestilences touching the earth right now. So what times are we living in? We're living in the beginning of sorrows, man. All right. This is the time where people will be uncomfortable in their positions. So now they start standing up or becoming in the uproars because they're no longer comfortable. They're in a state of sorrow and of mourning. All right. Going back to 2 Ezra 15 and 14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." All right. And ultimately, things are going to get like that when, you know, over the lack of food and shortages and things like that. All right. And straight lawlessness is being built up in the backgrounds. All right. And these people are getting used to going out and clashing in the streets and just having straight rowdiness, man. This is what the people are being conditioned to, you know, for the last, 2 years. All right. This is what you've been seeing on your news damn near every week, man. Riots and protests and police clashing. So now you're starting to have a generation of people that are coming of age, you know, the how you call them, preteens, you know, from 12 years old, 13-year-old, you know, over the last couple of years, now they're becoming 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Now they want to go into the streets and become activists and things. So now you have a generation of people that are starting to grow up into their adulthood where this is the norm for them. oh, we want change, we want this, we want that. And, first of all, their minds have all been corrupted for what, and the things that they believe anyway. All right. So, these people are just going out there, like I said, ultimately, Esau is creating a lot of these things. But, hey, man, the Most High has, because he wants to create order out of chaos. But the Most High is the ultimate chess player. The Most High is about to bring order out of chaos, man. All right. The Lord said he's coming to send fire on the earth, but what will he if it's already kindled, man? So, he's just using Esau to stir these things up. All right. Get everybody out of their comfort zone and things like that. So you can't ignore these things that's coming down the pipeline, man. All right. Verse 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their acts shall stand in their power. And as you can see with these things that are right now, let's say for the Black Lives Matter protests, and these people out here going at it with the police and stuff like that, just because they want to be acknowledged that their life have some type of value to it, right? How much more when these same people have to go out there and be like, fuck what y'all think about my life. I got to feed myself to actually be still alive, or the people with the climate change. Like, we don't give a damn about the climate if we can't eat to see tomorrow. All right. And, with these lockdowns and things, they're like, well, shit, it ain't nothing else left. All right. Y'all have taken everything away from us. So now we got to go out and take out to the streets anyway and fight over the small resources that there are. Because amidst all these riots and protests, especially for the lockdowns and the mandates, all right, which goes into people losing their jobs and their economic pool. All right, you got the shortages and how you say the slowdown in the shipping chains and things like that, which is driving up the price of food. All right, which is going to still we'll grab that. We'll close on that verse as a matter of fact, but nevertheless, which is causing the perfect storm conditions for these things to erupt, man. All right, it says. Let me read 16 again. For there should be sedition among men and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of a lack of bread and for great tribulation. And like I said, right now, you got these riots and these protests going on because of the treatment of the people, but it's going to get way worse when, it starts these things, because 2 or 3 of these things is dealing with, like the lockdowns and then the mandates, both of those things go into the fact of the matter of people can't go to work. People can't get their paycheck. All right. Which is going to put a strain on their buying power as far as food. But then you also have on the backside, the shipment situation going on, which again is caused, bringing less food on the shelves of the grocery store and a higher price on the food that is on the shelves, man. All right. So if these people are protesting over how they're being treated, how much more when they're seeing the lack of bread, man. All right. So, hey, man, you're only going to see these uproars of the people get worse and worse and worse around the globe, man. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to be like they're going to come to a resolution. The governments are not going to come to a point where they're like, you know what? We hear the cries of the people. We understand what's going on. We're going to just reverse our course with everything. Because as you see, they're having to force people. Before they were saying, we would like for everybody to participate with these things, but now they're mandating these things because they see that the people aren't with it. So if the people are standing up and rioting because they're not with it, what do you think the government's going to do? Turn around, or do you think they're going to double down? And when they double down, what do you think the reactions of the people is going to be, man? All right. So, hey, man, you have to be safe, be sober, and be vigilant because, hey, the devil is out here looking to see who he may devour, man. Pull your ass into one of these, you be walking down the block and all of a sudden some shit start popping off, man. You might not never know what it's going to be like the next time you go to the grocery store or to your downtown area or things like that, man. A couple of weeks ago, we had right by camp, we had a protest going on for Ephraim out there, man, the so-called Puerto Ricans and things like that, man. All right. So, hey, man, these are all the signs and the handwritings on the wall that this kingdom is finished, man. This here, rulership of Esau is going down, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.